Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Happy Healthy Whole. Today I want to talk about giving people the grace to be human. A lot of times we have expectations of people, especially people that are in the spotlight or have some level of celebrity or some level of a following. And I just want you to remember that everybody's human. So give people that grace to be human, even when they falter or even when they don't necessarily respond the way you expect them to respond, because you've always seen them or in this with this adoration of being wise or insightful, so to speak. I think that's a better word, insightful. I'm going to share this story with you. I was at a conference and there were some speakers at this particular conference, and like there are at all conferences, but there was a moment during this particular conference that this particular speaker had mentioned growing up in a single parent home and not necessarily having the wherewithal in the dating world once he was an adult and out in the dating world, and being married and twice divorced and being married a third time currently at that time, that there were things that he wished that his mother had did or had said, but he didn't go into detail. And then there was an opportunity where they had opened up the floor for questions. Now, me being a single mother in this conference, I raised my hand to ask him a specific question. I asked him the question, I said, well, what was it that you feel your mother could have done or could have said or could have advised you or guided you in a way to make you navigate in this world better? Because you're saying that there was a disconnect there by you not having a father, and that, you felt like there was some fault on your mother's end. Well, what could she have done specifically? Because I am a single mom and I do have a son that is at an age where he's going to be out in the world navigating in relationships. Is there some advice that you can give me to share with him, or how I need to interact with him to make him better suited for the dating world, coming out of a single parent home or whatnot? And you know what this person said to me? He'll figure it out. Sir, there is a room full of 600 people here. And probably 50% of that 600 are men that couldn't figure it out. This is the whole purpose of this conference, is like how to navigate in relationships and stuff like that. So how is that your advice to somebody that is coming to you asking you for something very, very, very direct at a conference where you're sitting on an expert panel giving advice to people about these things, and your answer is he'll figure it out? Needless to say, I was not happy with his answer, nor was I impressed. And I realized after some time had passed that you have to give people the grace of being human. A lot of people, when they get ready for these conferences and they preach in these venues and stuff, they have a practice message, a researched message. that they have researched and they pulled up these scriptures and they have these stories and things that they can tell and antidotes that can go along with it. So while they are preaching, yes, they seem so very insightful. They feel like they're talking directly to you. A lot of times people feel like, oh, Bishop was in my business today. I feel like he was talking directly to me. People say that all the time during church services or whatnot. And I'm no chameleon with regards to this. There's a lot of times where people have been preaching and I felt like they knew my heart. They knew what was going on in my personal life. So it happens. But after he gave a response like that, I realized that people that do this research, yes, they are insightful because they have, again, done the research. On the fly, they may not necessarily be able to give you an in-depth answer like they can these antidotes that they come up with while they're writing their sermons or whatnot. So I had to even do this to myself. I had to give that person the grace of being human and realize that every answer or everything that comes out of his mouth is not going to be some substantial, profound thought process. But what really got me was, I'm asking you about an ever-present relationship between myself and my son. And then he goes on to say, well, I want to challenge you to ask yourself that question when a man comes into your life. You want me to ask myself, how can I help this man better navigate in this world? I get that, but that is for what you're doing. You're bringing up a hypothetical when I'm asking you about something that's actual, something that's present in my life right now. So I don't see how that was. I didn't see why that was a connection that needed to be made at that time. But whatever. So give people the grace of being human and realize that a lot of the people that you see on these panels and stuff like that, they have researched their topics, and it's not that they're not intelligent on the fly, I guess, but they don't have time to research a topic or specific things to say to you to give you an answer. So if you walk away feeling like, because that's how I felt. Like, I was like, that didn't make any sense. He'll figure it out. You just said that you were having trouble because you came from a single parent home. There has to be something. I felt like there had to be an answer, a direct answer to my question based on his life experience. And I guess maybe in the back of my mind, I felt like maybe a lot of the things, I think it took away some of his credibility for me, because I felt like if you grew up in a single parent home and you can't tell a single mom something that she can do better or different with her son, her adult son that's out here in the world, it makes me think that maybe your mother wasn't lacking anything, or you were using a particular topic as a touchy point just to get a rise out of people. And it didn't really have, there was no validity to what he had said prior to that, since he was going to tell me my son would just figure it out. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, you have to understand that these people research things, and you have to give them the grace of being human. And you also have to understand that a lot of times when people are preaching, they may not necessarily be pulling from themselves. They may be pulling from other people's lives or other people that they know and stuff like that, and experiences that they've heard their friends go through or this or that. And it may not necessarily be a direct thing for them, because if it is direct, they can always pull from their life experience to tell you something. So I just realized that maybe he wasn't really lacking. It was just something, it was a talking point. It was something that he could say just to throw in his sermon. Because if you don't have any advice for anybody else that's going through something similar, then I don't know how you're navigating better in the current relationship that you're in. Like, but whatever. You have to give people the grace of being human. Okay?